Oh, it's nothing special. It's just my bass cannon!
Hey bronies, Nate here once again with Cameron.
Hello everyone.
And we're gonna read another fanfic. Well, mostly it's a clawfic, but I name it as a fanfic from now on. This story is pretty famous for being one of the best clawfics around at this time. It's called Drop the Bass or 40 Ounce Bounce, and it's a vinyl scratch clawfic second person. You can read along if you like. Let's begin. The avalanche of bass as you walk inside is already enough to make your eardrums throb. You can feel the floor vibrating as you walk inside an oddly lit room, alternating between black and flashes of neon brightness. You enjoy fun as much as the next pony boat. The ones in here seem to thrive on it, seeking out excitement and stimulation like a drug, or sometimes with the aid of drugs. You blink to clear your eyes from the flickers of flashing strobe lights and make your way inside the club proper. The floor feels sticky underneath your hooves. You rather not imagine for what. As you reach the admission counter, a pink Pegasus with a purple and green striped mane grins at you from behind her necklace of multicolored glow sticks. The cloth-covered table is covered with half-empty water bottles and a compartment of change in the center. The Pegasus doesn't say anything but simply grins. You wonder if she'll be able to hear you over the music. So, how much then? You ask, speaking at an uncomfortable high volume to force your voice through the constant thumping bass drums. The Pegasus blinks at you and tilts her head to the side, still grinning. It's by donation, man. Just give whatever, you know? Okay. It's becoming more apparent by the minute that this kind of place is somewhere you're familiar with, but you shrug and empty a hooful of bits onto the counter, while the Pegasus smiles at and eventually scoops into her cash box. She takes longer than you think it's necessary, collecting the bright yellow band from below the counter and slapping it into your foreleg as you hold it out. It takes a couple tries for her to finally wrap the band around, and it occurs that maybe the Pegasus isn't entirely with it at the moment. Still, that's all you need to get in, and you nod at thanks, making your way onto the club floor. The neon reflective material of your emission glass glows against the mix of flashing lights and intermittent darkness. Yeah, I don't know. The dark difference in volume is incredible, even just from the entrance room several feet away, where the constant thump of bass was audible as it rippled through the air like a wave. Now you feel it in your bones. The floor shakes with every pulse. You can see how the ponies find the rhythm. It's almost impossible to miss it. You already feel like shaking from side to side.
Sounds like the last time I went to YomaCon.
The dance floor.
That wasn't even me trying to be funny. I'm just being serious.
Yeah.
But thinking about doing it again too, so.
Oh. Thinking about going back there?
Yeah.
Nice. The dance floor proper is packed with bodies. You hit the edge of the throbbing crowd and try to push your way through. It's not that there's no room, more that the ponies don't seem to have any awareness of anything more than 5 inches outside their peripheral vision. Yeah, you manage to squeeze between several gaps with the aid of a couple taps on the shoulder, and eventually find yourself somewhere in a chaotic maelstrom of gyrating bodies. The music is almost deafening, on top of a constant thump of drums.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I like that little simile there. Or is it a simile? The metaphor. Somewhere in the chaotic maelstrom of gyrating bodies.
Yes.
Nice words.
Gyrating bodies. The music is almost deafening, on top of the constant thump of drums and cutting hi-hat, a low throbbing bass line layers like the air like a blanket, wobbling and vibrating in a pitch so low that it makes the floor vibrate. You shut your eyes and let the wub-wub wash you over you for a second. It's alright, but you don't see the appeal. Frankly, you're wondering why you came here in the first place, being surrounded by a herd of sweaty ponies under the influence of mind-altering substance, while your eardrums are blown out by a wobble bass that is not your idea of a good time. Mercifully, the song seems to be winding to an end. You breathe a sigh of relief as the pounding drums and cascade of dub cuts off abruptly, fading out in a series of time-record scratches. Apparently, this is a live performance, or at least partly so. You strain your neck upwards, over the crowd, and get a glimpse of the DJ in charge of the crowd's wub-wub delivery. Ah, now you remember why you came here. The spike of
You
blue...
mind if I take a turn at this?
Yeah, go right ahead.
The spike of blue hair over top the array of turntables is familiar. Along with the violet shades and giant grin, you recognize the face. Ponyville's DJ All-Star, one Miss Vinyl Scratch. You've met in the past. You've met, quote-unquote, once or twice, and something very recent put her face back in your mind, which is exactly what brought you down to a Technicolor rave you can imagine yourself enjoying under normal circumstance. The crowd is cheering loudly as Scratch gives a wave over top her equipment. They're looking towards the stage. They are looking towards the stage, bobbing and waiting for the next firing of the sonic weapon that constitutes the array of loudspeakers around the room. They're looking at her, but they're not focused. You are, and you're very vividly cementing the reason why for your visit in mind. Even at a distance, through a crowd of escalating bodies, you feel her energy. The smile on her face says she hasn't got a care in the world, and the way her body looks as if she leans over the stage to touch the hooves of the crowd reaching up to her platform is almost unbelievable. You see a soft sheen of sweat on her white fur from the blinking lights overhead. The way her coat stand out against the instrument, black light flare gives you a chance to get her a good look. Her body is slender, but still well-formed, with lithe lips, with a well-defined frame, and your eyes remember from a glimpse behind her shades as she pulls herself back from her brief visit to the adoring throng of ponies waiting to dance. You notice one part of her body in particular. You don't remember her ass being so curved and shapely. It's enough to get your legs moving in the direction of your booth. Attached, you're glad you started before the hiss of a melody line kicks on over the speakers, prompting the crowd to cheer again and start the preliminary bouncing. The drums pound over the PA shortly. Thereafter, you're only halfway to the stage before the volume drops low and then bursts into light, drowning you in sound. The second half of the trek is a struggle, but you manage to make it up to the stairs at the sight of the DJ. The DJ booth is on an elevated platform, and the steps lead up are bared with a neon purple rope hanging at the bottom. The area is relatively uncrowded in comparison to the rest of the club. Save for a small contingent of two more serious-looking ponies at the top of the stairs. One of them, a gray Pegasus with dark orange hair and a glowing neckpiece, gives you a raised eyebrow as you tap the cut-off rope experimentally. She hops down the stairs with a flutter of her wings and yells at you through the haze of oonts, oonts. Can I help you with something? Her voice is cautious, still tinted very slightly with the detached air that everyone here seems to possess. Yes, actually. I'm looking to speak to Vinyl. You mean DJ Pony 3? You can hear the letters in the way she pronounces it. You try your best to hide your cringe. I guess we're friends? Occasional fuck buddies? I know her. I just want to say hello. She's kind of in the middle of a set right now. The other pony, a unicorn with a light blue coat, leans next to the Pegasus' ears and whispers something you can't hear through the music. Well, whispering in this case is a volume slightly above a low roar, but still not loud enough to make it past the constantly cascading bass and drums from every speaker. The Pegasus turns her head towards the stage after the unicorn passes her along her message, and you look in the same direction. Scratch is leaning back from her turntable, waving at you with her trademark beaming grin. Apparently, she remembers you, too. You can continue reading, Nate.
Can you go another paragraph?
Huh?
Go another paragraph.
Okay. You make your way up to the steps cautiously, feeling them shake underneath you with every thud that echoes to the rest of the club. The Pegasus looks a tad put out as she lowers the neon rope behind you, but you're not particularly interested in the reaction. Right now, the focus is on the unicorn with the shimmering blue highlights smiling at you at the center of the stage. It didn't occur to you that you have to walk up on a dais in front of a crowd of raving ponies, but as you walk up behind Scratch, who's back facing to her equipment, you realize there's no need to worry. The crowd is far too absorbed in their own movement. And in the immersion of the music to pay any attention to what's going on at the stage.
Next. All right. As the beats continue to pour out of the club's speakers, cut up with an occasional record scratch or an extra sample, you take a second to admire the pony that brought you here indirectly. You run your eyes up, Scratch's body staring from the ground up, and do a double take when you get to her haunches. Maybe it's the angle, or the way the flares of black light, sorry, are causing her coat to glow. But Scratch's ass looks amazing! What's more, she's wearing something on it, and by virtue, it looks like she looks even dirtier if she was completely naked, which is pretty much the norm regardless of location. She has a thin red thong stretched between her cheeks, which is only accentuating how incredibly smooth and round her ass looks from behind. Other words come to mind: fuckable jumps to the forefront. You remember admiring the view from behind the last time you met, but the view is something else. The other parts of her you recall appreciating, namely the way her body was so slender and her eyes twinkle when you were. That was all wonderful. Probably what drew you here in the first place. Seeing a completely different attraction in front of you is like getting a treasure chest for your birthday. Oh, yeah. And cue Zelda treasure chest music.
Shit! I was gonna hum the tune, actually. You want me to? Okay. Da-na-na-na.
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go.
Maybe it was the circumstance of the last time you saw her that distracted from you for what you are now intensely convinced is the spectacular backside. Goddamn, how many times do you have to describe it? The thought is worrying that, given that, and your now sudden fixation with the view of her butt bobbing up and down with the beat, you're starting to get a little worried about developing some kind of reputation. Oh wait, that's I think I mispronounced that.
You did.
Yeah, pronounce that, please. I can't even pronounce this goddamn word. Say it.
Reputation.
Reputation. Okay, I fucked up. Sorry about that. Anyways, still, you treat yourself to the display for a few minutes longer, trying to take in the other facets, or what the fuck? Facets. God damn it. Of Scratch's slightly boyish but still intoxicatingly feminine body. You keep coming back to her ass, though. It's a struggle not to just rip that pair of underwear off with your teeth and mount her right there. Eventually, at the end of the song comes,
damn it.
What?
Say that.
What did you say?
I'm sorry, cut that out. You're gonna cut that out, right?
What did you say?
God dang, this pony is horny.
So? Eventually, as the end of the song comes, she spins another track into the turntable and turns around to greet you properly. You try to avert your eyes before she turns. That way, the way she's always grinning, you can't tell if she's noticed. What brings you here? She yells, over the 5 layers of melody screaming through the air. I didn't think this was really your scene. The normal soft-spoken nature isn't really at your favor here. It's hard to be soft anything around her. And the music is making the speaking part more difficult as well. You ponder for a minute before deciding on what you think is the most diplomatic introduction. I heard you were playing tonight, and I thought I'd stop by. I had a lot of fun the last time we hung out. That was certainly a diplomatic word choice. At least Scratch smiles at you. Is that so? I know I play here every week, and I have never seen you come by before. Something told me you appreciate the visit. You match her smile as she laughs, and chuckle, fading into a wave of trance and a steady drop beat. Scratch takes a minute to adjust her shades, eventually levitating him off her head with a small burst of magic that glows neon blue from her horn. Despite the fact that you're not normally the type to get nervous around the opposite sex, you feel yourself sweating a little extra as your eyes come into view. Brilliant, striking red. Well, we all know it's purple, but yeah. Or magenta, sorry. That glows in the relative darkness. You don't know why she hides them so often. They match her outfit after all. I take that back. Red is more sexier than magenta. She steps closer to you, walking from the electronic equipment at the center stage and nudging in the chest of one of her hooves, prompting you to back up behind one of the speakers at the side of the elevated platform. And what made you think that, huh? Her voice cracked slightly, byproduct of a volume necessary to be heard amidst the music. You mentally added to your list of reasons to pay her another visit in the future. Being coy and modest is one thing, but Scratch was never really the type to appreciate beating around the bush. You grab her both her hooves and drag the front half of her body behind the speaker out of the view of the crowd before you kiss her. She seems surprised, but relaxes immediately as your lips lock together, closing her bright red eyes and moaning softly into your mouth. You can't hear it, but you can feel the response. The way her body goes from tense to soft in your hooves is the best indication that she's more than happy to see you. Her kiss is a little rough, feeling almost inexperienced, but her enthusiasm more than makes up for it. She opens her mouth wider for your tongue as the kiss goes on. With her eyes closed, the complete darkness blends with the music for the first time of the night. And the way your bodies vibrate with the bass in unison just makes everything feel more intimate, stronger, hotter. You eventually break the kiss, pulling back with a slight grin. Vinyl's mouth moves for half a second after. She wipes her lips off with the back of her foreleg, looking embarrassed. She's always so confident, seeing her, even with just a bit bashful, sends an extra kick to the part of your brain controlling your hormones. It almost seems like a good idea to pull her behind the speaker and run her right here. Scratch smiles at you coyly for a minute before you have time to think about what might or might not happen the next feet away from the crowd of fans listening to her set. Her eyes go wide, like a light bulb is suddenly turning on in her head, and she darts away from the speaker back to her equipment. You've barely been paying attention to the music, but you realize upon listening that all but one of the pieces playing in sync have faded away, probably meaning that the song is about to end entirely. You see Scratch grabbing a new plate to spin and adjusting several of the dials and knobs on the vast board and of confusing circuitry in front of her. The way that in-tune members of the crowd roar as Scratch bobs her head and lines up for the next set of synths and bass drums is sort of intoxicating. You feel the energy flowing through you from a distance. Scratch has her eyes closed, and she's holding a pair of headphones to one ear, rocking her body back and forth with the beat of the music. The way she looks lost into the world. Her entire body has taken over by the flow of the music is sort of inspiring. It's also giving you some ideas. You want to continue on, Cameron?
Sure. You duck low to the ground, keeping your head below the height of the turntables as you crawl out of the center of the platform, right behind Scratch. She's on all fours, one of her forelegs raised to hold her headphones. You take a minute to admire the view of her ass, plot, whatever, bouncing up and down and all around. Red thongs still aglow in the mixtures of light. Waiting might not be an option here, but if you're going to go at it right here, you might need to do something convincing, at least. From your spot near the floor, you tap one of Scrannel's high legs. She doesn't... Excuse me. She doesn't seem to notice you, and you give... and you give her several nudges before she finally turns her head, blinking like she's waking up from a dream. Her shades are resting on her bright blue mane, and her eyes whiten as she notices you where you were poking her from. You gesture with one of your hooves, pointing upwards. She blinks back at you, confused. The gesture with both hooves this time, pointing upward. You arch your body a little bit, trying to convey the message a little better. Stand up. After a couple seconds, she nods, finally understanding. She then seems a little out of it. You wonder if she's in the same state of mind as everyone else you've run into tonight. Scratch pulls herself onto her hind legs on her mixing equipment for a moment before giving a wave to the crowd. The few of them looking up at the stage give a cheer that you can barely hear over the noise of the music. You're not paying attention to the crowd night now, or the music. Vandel's body is less than a foot away from you, and most importantly, her tight red thong swaying in the movement of her amazing backside, all within arm's reach. You allow yourself a small smirk before crawling closer to the unicorn's hind legs. She twitches only slightly when you rest your hooves on one of the hind on her legs, trying to go up and down her fur. Gentle doesn't seem appropriate given the pounding intensity of every other sensation, so your movements are firm, almost rough. Vinyl doesn't move aside from her constant sway back and forth to the rhythm of the drums. You take this as a challenge, but not a big one given your talent for distraction. There's something you want to distract yourself with first, though. Abandoning any pretense of subtlety, you guide both your hooves up Vinyl's legs and plant them firmly on her butt. The feeling is exactly what you expected, maybe even better. Perfectly firm, taut, and squeezable. Nice. You do just that, caressing her cheeks shamelessly as she bounces them inches away from your face. Her thong sways back and forth, teasing you as you grind your hooves into her skin, savoring every second of the supple behind against your touch. You notice after a while of what you intended to be an entirely selfish act that Vinyl Scratch is moving a little offbeat now. You feel the pressure of her body press back into you as you continue needling her ass. You smile to yourself. A good sign.
And let me continue on here, dude.
Let yourself enjoy.
Let me go, dude.
Scratch his ass for
another
minute before moving on to your original plan.
Don't let me go, dude. John, damn it.
I keep calling her Vinyl Scratch.
God damn it, dude.
Huh?
I wanted to continue on with this one. You like completely ignoring me.
Sorry.
God damn. It seems like you're really getting into the story.
I kind of like it.
No, admit it, you like it.
I like it. It's okay.
Anyways, you let yourself enjoy Scratch ass for another minute before moving on to your original plan. Leaning forward, you grab the thin fabric of Scratch's red underwear between your teeth. The feeling of having your face pressed in between her cheeks is almost enough to make you feel like you're high as everyone you've run into. But you can't lose sight of the prize. You swear as you feel a gas go through Scratch's body as you pull the thong to the side, sliding it over one side of her body, and pressing her nose back into her skin again. You rub yourself against her again before sliding your nose lower, between her legs. The smell of her obvious arousal is a nice change from the scent of powdered sugar and neon plastic. Your face is instantly wet just from a brief touch, and you slide your tongue out, licking playfully at the source of Vinyl's wetness. You know you felt a gasp that time, but along with a noticeable shiver along her legs. Despite your earlier approach, you start gently licking between Scratch's lips and coating your tongue with her wetness. As you slide along the length of her slit, you feel another shudder, and amuse yourself with the thought of Scratch's face, struggling to stay composed while you touch her out of sight. It's part of what makes it so fun. As an accompaniment, though, you give a quick jab of your tongue against her exposed clit, and you have to hold back a laugh as you feel her jump. You return your attention to the lower area, running your tongue up and down and occasionally sliding it inward, licking an inch or two inside before teasing her along the outside of her hole. Her lips are amazing, thicker than you're used to, in stark contrast to her diminutive frame. As you plunge your tongue in again, you take them into your mouth, sucking lightly as Scratches shivers against your touch. The taste of her juices in your mouth is having a very noticeable effect, but you're not about to mount her in the middle of a stage. You don't think anyway. After a minute of enjoying...
Oh, no. Okay, that's... You don't think anyway, so fuck it.
Fuck it. Exactly. After a minute...
And that's probably what happens afterwards, too.
Fuck it. After a minute of enjoying Vinyl's pussy, you decide to make her jump again and withdraw your tongue, sliding it up her lips and pressing it down hard on an engorged party button, just above her hole.
Oh, dude, sick. Really?
Party button.
The party button.
Her hooves dig into the wood underneath her as you trace circles around her clit, sweeping your tongue across the nub in quick, light motions. Her hips are moving forward to meet your tongue. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard to get her to come, just like this, grinding on your face in front of the entire crowd of dancers, but that would be ruining the fun. After a long drawn-out slathering of your tongue pressed flat against her clit, you withdraw her face and remove herself from the DJ's legs entirely. You still can't hear anything over the music, but you want to tell yourself that she made a disappointed groan as you stopped. The music is almost fading out again, down just the bass line. You right yourself behind a speaker, and again look at Scratch, still standing on her hind legs behind her mixing equipment. You can't get You can't get a glimpse of her face at this angle, but you see her horn glow as she levitates another record out of the crate by her feet, throwing it in and onto the turntable and adjusting some more dials. The drums pick up almost immediately, the last song fading out into another beat, which accelerates gradually. The new melodies blare into your ears after a moment. As you smile and Scratch turns to you, walking away from center stage, you notice her shades are back on. She lifts them up and she wraps one of her forelegs around you, pulling your face to hers. Her eyes are beaming as you can see an intensity burning in them that you saw only a spark of it at first. With her other leg, she grabs one of your hooves and presses something to it. A small pill with a color you can't make out.
Take this and follow me,
She whispers into your ear. Only a whisper in as much as you're only one to hear it. She still has to yell to be heard over the music. You nod and swallow the pill dry, and let Scratch lead you down the stage and away from the stage. The Pegasus by the divider gives you a look, and you grin back at her as Scratch drags you away almost faster than you can move.